Hey there, welcome to Monday Move, where we enhance your asana. Tonight we are going to work on downward facing dog or Adho Mukha Svanasana. One of the misalignments that I find a lot are my students or they think that the main goal of the pose is to get the heels to the mat, which is secondary, maybe even third here in goal wise. We want to focus on having a nice long line from our hands through our spine to our hips. And then going from there, getting a nice hinge through the hip joints. This is a forward fold. So like we talked when we talked about Uttanasana, hinging here at your hip joints. The other misalignment that I see a lot too is my students sometimes sink their chest too far towards the ground or back in towards their thighs, and they get kind of like a sway back. They get too much of an arc through their spine. So we want a nice strong upside down V is what we're looking for. So to come into down dog, especially with beginners, I have them start on their hands and knees. So from here, I have them take their hands, a hand print at least in front of where their hands are underneath their shoulders. And then to curl the toes under, lift the hips up and back, keeping their knees bent. So before you even look to lengthen through the legs, I want you to feel what's happening from your hands to your hips. First things first, so for the hands, don't put all your weight into your wrist joint. Think of the weight distributing between your root knuckles and even into your fingertips. And then there's some weight still on the wrist. That's the first thing I want you to feel is into your hands. Don't sink into your wrist joint. Press the weight forward onto your root knuckles and fingertips. And now press into your hands from the middle of your back. You should feel a length happening through your side body here. I want you to anchor down through the inside and outside of your arms or inside of your hands. Take a few breaths here. And again, to get that too much dropping of the shoulders here, I want you to knit your lower ribs together, broaden your middle back, and then take your navel up into your pelvis. All right. So now, working through the pelvis, I only want you to work on straightening your legs if you can keep the anterior tilt of the pelvis. So sometimes because hamstrings are so tight, if we straighten our legs, we get a rounded spine, and then we get a not so straight upside down V. So I'd rather see bent knees with long length through your hands to your hips. And then over time, working through the hamstrings and the calf muscles, maybe you can lengthen your legs. Maybe then after that, you can sink your heels. But in all honesty, my heels rarely touch the ground at all. And sometimes it might just be your bone structure. So don't think that your heels touching the ground is primary. So a few things to reiterate, especially when you're weight bearing on your hands. Think of distributing the weights out from your wrist into your fingertips. Okay, so more of the weight forward into the tops of your hands. I want you to press into your hands from your shoulder blades. So we want length through the outside of the arm to your side body. So not here, don't collapse into your shoulder joint, but press your hands away and lift your arms. And then broaden through your armpits, knit the lower ribs together, scoop up the belly, and think about taking your tailbone up towards the ceiling for a nice anterior tilt. Again, knees can stay bent, and then only lengthen them if you can keep the length through your spine. If you lengthen your legs and you feel a shift through your shoulders, your legs aren't ready to be straight. See, right now my legs are pretty tight, so I got to work really hard at lengthening them. One more breath here. Then exhale, let's release back to our knees. All right, so I hope that was beneficial for your down dog. Again, disperse the weight into the fingertips of your hand. Press into your hands from your shoulders. Lace up your lower ribs so you're not overarching in through your spine. Think of broadening through your back body. Keep a nice anterior tilt in the hips by keeping the knees bent. And then once your legs are warm enough or the hamstrings are loose enough, then work towards lengthening the legs. I'd say if you're just starting out, really focus to the front body or the top half of the body, and don't worry too much, I should say, about the back half of the body. Keep the knees bent. The heels don't need to be on the ground. Just work on getting that length through the spine. Have a great rest of your day. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, or any poses you'd like me to go over, please reach out to me via Facebook Messenger or direct message on Instagram or any other way that you can contact me. You can go to katieschleepwellness.com and there's a contact me page on there as well. So have a beautiful day, a wonderful week. I'll see you next week. Namaste.